بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. White Nile University, Faculty of Arts, English Language Department. So the course title is Survey of English Literature. So the ultimate goal of this course is to enable the students to have a background of English literature. To survey the English literature, that means to understand or to study the English literature from the beginning to the end, from the Middle Ages up to now. And so we are in need to discuss a lot of concepts and ages during the English language and literature. And so this is lecture number 1. And so the lecture number 1 is entitled The Literature of Middle England. So the term Middle or Middle Ages was first used by 16th century Renaissance scholars who saw the period as a rather dismal when compared with the progress made in classical antiquity and the advance of the knowledge in their own time. The period between 450 to 1000 has been called the Dark Ages. The term Middle Ages then being reserved from the period 1000 to 1500. However, the darkness of our own times have made us rather more careful about giving bad names to other people. And so this is the real beginning of English literature was in the Middle Ages, the period between 450 to 1000. So this period is called the Dark Ages. And so the term Dark Ages, as has been said, is used by the 16th century scholars. They attributed the period as a dark because it is little known, or there is a little known about this period. And so that is why it's called the Dark Ages or the Middle Ages. And so let's move to the pre-medieval England between 450s, 100 to 1066. So in this period, England was inhabited from about 3000 before Christ, BC, before Christ. The builders of Stone Age were excellent astronomers and extraordinary engineering skills and a complex social organization. And so this is the context of the pre-Middle England. The people were excellent builders and they used stones to build their houses, and they were also excellent astronomers. And they had extraordinary engineering skills that enabled them to build great houses and institutions. And they have complex social organizations. So they have the church, they have a lot of organizations which was very complicated. So the Celtic tribes invaded England around 700 before Christ. The Celtic tribes were well-known tribes in England. So they invaded England around 700 before Christ. Their bronze weapons ensuring their victory over the previous settlers. So they defeated the previous settlers or the settlers who lived in England before them, and then they defeated them because of their strong weapons, which were made of bronze. The next invaders were the Romans. So then, after Celtic tribes, so Roman came to invade or came to live in England. They arrived in 43 AD and stayed for 400 years. I mean that Roman arrived in England and stayed 400 years. They drove the Celts tribes outside England. and then they drove them into Scotland and Wales and created an urban civilization. They built towns, roads, developed trades, and took corns and tin from England. I mean that the Celts tribes when they were moved by the Roman, so they stayed in Scotland and Wales and created their great civilization. And they used to take raw materials from England, such as tin, corns, and cotton, to build their own civilization. When the Roman Empire began to come under attack from migrating Asian tribes, England colony was abandoned. So, dear students, that's all for today about the survey of English literature. So we began to talk about the beginning or the real beginning of English literature, the Dark Ages, and then pre-medieval ages, and then we saw how the Celtic tribes invaded England, and then they have been sent away by the Roman, and they went to stay in Wales and Scotland, in which they built their own civilization. They created, their civilization, and they built a lot of towns, roads, and developed trades with another nation. Thank you very much for listening to us. And this is quite enough for today's lecture. And let us meet next time, inshallah.